a chance, send me the link to it, because I have searched for it, and I think I even texted you before that I
Yes,
can't find
yes.
it.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
I did send it to you, and I must have been sending it to you when Ian was when Bob
Yeah.
was
I'm
deleting it.
looking at it
So
now. It's transgender. It's got 125 views, so that's not bad. It's creeping up again.
Yeah.
The White Fragility show has got 575, but these are the live versions. You know, when I take the episodes and I'll add our wrap up and I'll add our music, then
Mhm.
I'll post that.
yeah,
So
yeah,
those versions aren't doing so well because I'm assuming at the time they're maybe clicking on the live version or watching it live.
yeah. Because Bob likes to make it look
I
pretty,
know it's
you
like an
know.
OCD thing. I
Yeah,
don't like having two of each. Yeah.
right, but see, on my show, I have two of each because I noticed that most of the for some reason people when they click on to watch the replay, they're clicking on the live.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
okay.
So and that's where I say that when people see those numbers, it's like, oh, 500 people watch this, well, this must be a good show. So but anyway, so are we ready? Are you still sharing, or are we still chatting amongst ourselves?
Oh, are you already? Have
I
you
am
gone there?
I I,
Oh,
I am live, so just let me know.
sorry. Right. Give me 2 seconds.
That's okay. So everyone, we're just talking amongst ourselves. So if you're
So,
out
what,
there,
so when people do search for all your podcasts, they just look under Friendly Differences, correct?
are you talking about my podcast
Yeah.
or for Friendly
For,
Differences?
well, okay. Again, I'm still new to this. The whole
Okay, I'm going to put this
you're
in the
solid blue.
I'm Solid Blue, so you can either look up Solid Blue Sister, and it should
Hmm.
come up my turn to talk.
Oh, yes, that I found. But what it is Friendly Differences is over your head right now on my phone.
Oh
So
no,
that's
that's only
why all of a
no no
sudden
no. That's only because that's just the placement of the thing. so
I'm a
but
little
but
slow sometimes.
but Friendly Differences
Yeah.
podcast is on YouTube. Friendly Differences podcast is on Facebook, and Twitter is Friendly Differences Pod. Is it Friendly Differences podcast on Twitter?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So
Yeah.
so are we ready?
Yeah. Good to go.
I'm ready.
Okay, so we are still live. Okay. Hello, everyone, and good afternoon. I am Solid Blue Sister, and this is Friendly Differences, and this is my co host, Bahram Yu.
Hi guys.
And we are here again with Regan. She was a
Hello.
previous guest, and we are just going to chat. We were going to do a relationship show, but we're going to change it up a little bit, and we're going to chat about anything. And if you guys have seen, Ba and the chats that we've done, which I know you guys have because you all have been watching them on YouTube. I've been looking at that. You know that we talk about some of everything. So right now, I'm just going to ask Regan, how are you, and welcome back. And I actually really appreciate and like the show that you did.
Well, thank you, and thank you for having me back a second time. I hope your viewers like the show too.
I'm pretty sure they will. And Mr. Ba, do you have anything you want to say?
No, just it's great to see a familiar face, and it's good to have you back, Regan, because I
Thank
thoroughly
you.
enjoyed that show, and I know a lot of people in my circles have commented about how good that show was, and more
Good.
more importantly, I have really benefited from that show. I don't know if you're familiar with TikTok, but I'm obsessed with like debates on there. Like
Hmm.
there's a lot of like live shows that have these solid laughing. There's a lot of people that will on their notes they'll write debate me on abortion, debate me on this, debate me on that, and a lot of them have trans rights. So I've kind of tested myself in the debate forum. Yeah, I'm not the best of debaters unless I'm clued up on a subject, and that's why
Hmm.
I'm saying the chat with you really gave me some context, and I really enjoyed hearing your story because I don't know. I think some of the people that go on TikTok are often maybe. Would you agree that there are some people that use their maybe they're trans or like any other issue like their race or their if they're gay or anything, they'll use it to kind of assert themselves. Whereas talking to you that night, it really gave me, like I said to you on the show, like I really had a heartfelt for you when you told us that you at 6 years old and you had that, and that opened my eyes, and I think a lot of people will learn from that.
A lot of people do try to throw that out there and employ their views. I just like people to know who I am. I tell my story.
Yeah.
And like I said, I'm not the normal one. I don't believe. What was it that the swimming? What was the bill? What was that bill?
It was something 9, was it?
I forget what it's called, but most people.
You're talking about Title IX.
Title IX. I should probably leave the glasses on. I look dorkier with the glasses, but I can't see that well. I don't believe that, what probably threw a lot of people is I don't believe that transgender people that have gone through puberty and have lived somewhat of their life as males should jump on the women's swim team. Okay. So that threw a lot of people off, but I enjoyed being able to share my little bit of a story, and hopefully people realize I'm very humble and I'm approachable and we're not crazy people.
Yeah.
Well, maybe not.
Yeah. Okay, so Bob, you just gave me a jumping off point on TikTok, and hopefully we shouldn't get banned for saying this on YouTube. Oh. But in terms of TikTok, like, I do know that as a person of color, people do use their race, whatever, people use their politics, their sex. I mean, when you get on TikTok, people are using some of everything. Do you think that that's ever going to go away, or do you think that it's going to get worse, or do you think that because it seems like the people who are the more extreme are the ones that are getting all the likes, the views, the followers, whereas the people who are just hi everybody, I'm here to cook something, whatever, it's like no one wants to see that. Why do you think that people are so
weird? I do want to see those. I want to see those.
Yes. So do I, but I'm saying, but why do you think that people are so into the extreme? Like, I want to see, if someone were to go on YouTube and say they were going to kill someone at 12 noon, it would get 1 million viewers because they are actually rooting for that person to kill this person. So why do you think
the radicalization? You mean the people that are like shock value, like saying things to get?
I guess it's shock, whatever. But why do you think that human nature tends to go to those type of things?
I think because there's so many of us, we're almost like competing for a platform, basically. Like, I notice it more in the comments section rather than the people on panels, because the people in the comments, it's like their moment of fame. They're maybe not brave enough to step onto the mic, so they're trying to be as bold. And I don't like. I think it's that side of things is why people normally say that they turn away from like Facebook, Twitter, and all that, because it's a cesspit. It's all people being hateful with each other. Whereas if you actually met someone in real life and had a conversation, you wouldn't say those things. You're hiding behind your phone. You've got an alias or a username, and you're basically hiding behind it, and you're trying to be as hurtful or try and get the limelight on you. And if you get your comment read out, there's that feeling of, a little bit of I've been noticed, and I don't know. I really don't know why people have got that in them.
The excitement. They need a little excitement in their life, and that's their way to challenge that excitement, to get that adrenaline fix. Even though they're watching somebody else do it, they're still at the edge of their chair going, oh my God, this is happening. I can't wait to see this.
But those are the people that bug me. I mean, those are the people that if you can't say it out loud and you can't speak it, then don't say it. I mean, if you still want to chat it, but you're that type of person who will still say it, like I will say it, and I've gotten in trouble for saying stuff, whatever, but I will say it, but I can still, type it, whatever. But for the people that do hide, it's like, I'm sorry, guys, I'm going to say this out loud. You all are cowards. I mean,
Yeah.
those are the people who hide behind something else, whether you're hiding, putting something over your head, hiding in your house, whatever. If you can't come out and tell me whatever, then I don't want to hear it.
Yeah.
I mean, but again, social media has allowed people to, just they want the extreme stuff. And like
Yep.
like Bob said on TikTok, and you do have some people on there, and I went back and
Yeah.
you have people who literally are sleeping and they have like 20,000 followers. I mean, and the views that they're getting over just setting up their phone or their camera and their sleep.
Yeah.
I don't have TikTok downloaded onto my phone. The big what turned me away from TikTok is when China used to own it or something like that, and I heard that China was getting into everybody's phone. I'm like, nope, I'm not going to put it on my phone.
No. Yeah, I once said that as well, and here I am addicted. But I know for me the debate thing is like it's almost. It sounds really bad, but like I'm going into these. And I think majoritively there is a lot of leftist thinking people. So I'm going into there, and it's like a research for me. It's almost I can go into there, listen to what's being said, and then I'm like pondering my own thoughts, and then it'll serve me well for shows like this. Like when we do a show on a certain topic, I'll know what the left are thinking, and I'll be prepared for it, and I can formulate. So it's almost like I'm viewing these people as like a research lab. Like they're literally telling me their thoughts, and I'm in the comments. And the difference between me, because I'm sure if there's a lot of people listening from TikTok, they'll be saying that I'm one of those who'll type in the chat to say things. But the difference with me is I'll jump on the microphone and I'll say these things. I'm not mean in any way, but
right.
Obviously because I'm conservative leaning, I've got right leaning views. I can say things that I believe in that are very hurtful to people, but I genuinely believe. I'm not doing it to hurt people. I just think sometimes the truth does hurt. Like hearing facts and statistics that goes against your narrative can be upsetting, but I'm willing to say it because I value truth over feelings. And that's not just for, to be honest, the trans, I've never really jumped on because I wholeheartedly believe everyone should have rights. So that for me trumps everything. Like I'll never debate the trans issue because I could never say that you don't deserve this right and you don't. That's a difference with, I think, where the media portray people like me as the far right fascists. I believe in far right values, but I also couldn't be a fascist. I couldn't say you don't get this, you don't get that, and that's where I think I differ.
You're open-minded. You're very open-minded because if you were that far right, number one, you wouldn't have shown any empathy or sympathy or just accept me and listen to my story and and say what you just said, that everybody should have rights. Because if you were that far right, I'm just going the wrong way. My phone's the camera's this way from me. You wouldn't have been saying all those, and you guys would not have invited me on for a second show.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Well, but at the same time, I'm gonna go on you with this left thing.
Go for it.
On one hand though, but I got in trouble for saying something that to this day, I am not going to say I'm sorry about because I don't think I did anything wrong. Whatever. You can say that I did something wrong. Yes, I did say something, but I don't think that it was meant. I did not say it mean, whatever. But at the same time, you can't say, well, I'm going to say things and it might come out mean, whatever. You can't do that. You can't admonish one person and then you say that you're, doing the same thing, because I think that I do push back. People push back on me and on my show on some of the topics. We're pushing back, and I'm disagreeing with people. People are disagreeing with me, and I think that's fine. Mm-hmm. But if you're not being mean or rude or nasty, then
No, that's why I think we work, because although we disagree, and to me, that's the whole premise of this show, is to show that people can disagree but still have a conversation as long as there's respect.
Because
I think the problem with society today is when two people do disagree and it gets heated, there maybe is an urge to attack them personally or say things that they've heard, like the shock horror comments that they've maybe heard and they're repeating just to win the argument. Or there's tactics on both sides that I see where they're not actually debating, but they're debating how to debate. Like, and I don't like that. It's like almost like you're someone will bring up a hypothetical, which I don't like, because I know there are people who'll conjure up a story about how this happened and then this happened and then this. So if you're okay with that, then that means my argument's right, which is a straw man. And it doesn't necessarily mean that your point's valid. Like that, I think that I've heard plenty of debates, obviously with the conspiracy side of things, listening to people debate, and it's like they're not interested in the actual facts of what's right and wrong. They're more attacking each other and saying that's wrong, you shouldn't have said that, and it's political, and I don't like that. But
everything's political right now.
Everything doesn't have to be. Everything does not have to be a debate. You can have a discussion, and that's the things that people don't have anymore. I think that we are in the situation where everybody is looking at debate. You know, you're right, whatever just happened to people just talking.
Okay.
You know, people. I mean, and even you know, if you disagree, you're still able to talk. I mean, last week you had. I mean, this isn't funny, and I'm laughing because it's just so ridiculous and it's just disgusting. Mm-hmm. You had somebody come and someone was killed because they went to McDonald's and their French fries were cold.
Wow.
I mean, this is what we're coming to. We're coming to people getting killed because your fries were cold.
Yeah.
I mean, it's over ridiculous stuff.
Yeah.
So I have a question for you guys, and I'm trying to stay away from politics, but this question does bring politics in. Politics, race, trans, gay, anything under the board that you can think of that is a hot topic. Do you think that if we took out the Facebook, even cable news, if we took cable news out, because cable news became big when with the whole OJ Simpson trial.
Oh, yes.
A lot of people who would not be where they were if it were not for him. So he launched a lot of careers. But you take all that away. Would the trans and gay, you know, would that be such a hot topic? Would BLM be such a hot topic? Would January 6th be such a hot topic? Would all these things be such a hot topic if we took away all this noise?
No, I don't think it would be as much of a hot topic, because you wouldn't see all these things people are saying and let them influence you. I think a lot of the social media influences the way people think.
Yeah.
So they might just hear about it, but they would probably leave the subject alone as opposed to being influenced. That's just my personal thought.
Yeah.
I think social media in general, look what it does to little girls who want to look as beautiful as the girls that they see, you know, on social media, and who get sick, anorexic, or, you know, do all those other things. Social media influences majorly, in my opinion.
Okay, I'm going to throw in abortion. Do you think that with Roe versus Wade, do you think you take away, again, all this noise, that it would be such a hot topic?
I don't think so, because from what I've heard, again, it's hearsay. You see it on the news, you see it here and there, but more people are for women's rights than against it. So I don't think, because we wouldn't hear people shouting the take away women's rights, take this away, God and all that, I don't believe it would be as big of a deal.
Do you think it would have been overturned?
I don't think so.
See, I don't think so either. I think if you did not have social media, Roe versus Wade would have just been another law or whatever on the books, and because it would not have been. Social media gives people a voice. It gives them a place for them to talk. So if you were to take away social media, you wouldn't have as big of a reach. I mean,
Exactly.
I know Bob wants to say something, so go ahead, go ahead. I mean,
No,
you know,
I
I
totally
mean,
agree, but I often think like this is what I say all the time, and I get pushback. I tell you all the time, media, 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 because
I'm not
they
saying media, media, media. I said your Facebooks,
yeah,
your
that's what I mean. All of
whatever.
it,
So
media,
okay, okay,
media is
all
an
right.
umbrella for social media, the TV, government, like everything. Everything is
Okay.
an umbrella, and the
But
reason
see,
I say that,
but you say it in terms of the media is telling people what to do and they're making and they're,
yeah,
they're saying this. I'm just saying that if all of that noise was not around,
mm,
with these issues that are so big,
mm,
meaning there's no platforms in order to push them. That, I guess
yeah.
that's what I'm trying to say.
The reason I'll kind of try and sum it up it's still a very broad way, but I want to ask you both what you think of this. Is I don't believe anyone in not anyone. Okay, I'll start again. I believe most people in the world today, they don't own their own, they don't have their own opinions, and including me to some extent. Like I see myself, like I look at both sides because I'm a conspiracy theorist. I challenge things, and I'm not saying that I'm better than anyone else in any way, shape, or form, but there are most people, their opinion, whether it's I'm a vegan and this is why, or I'm a Trumper and this is why, and it's not their own opinions until they look at the opposite side. So what they're repeating is what they've heard or seen somewhere. When you hear people in debates reciting, well, there was a study done in here, here, and here, and this year, and all that, they've heard that from somewhere, and they're just parroting it. And that's the point, like how social media can control everything you see, whether it's an advert, whether it's an article, whether it's a documentary, whether it's a politician talking, whether it's Joe Rogan. It's someone else that you're learning from. You're learning what they're saying, and then you're repeating it in your own circles. And until you go and challenge that view and look at the opposite side, it's not your own opinion.
I would
Would you agree?
say to a certain extent, because there
Yeah.
are things that I hear on the news, and I am a liberal, whatever, but sometimes they'll say something. I'm like, what? I'm like, that doesn't even make any sense. And then I'll hear
Yeah.
somebody on the right say something. I'm really saying that doesn't make any sense. But I mean, I do have my own views, and I have had people who, when I've even pushed back on race stuff, they're like, "You're actually saying that?" And I'm like, "Well, yeah, because they did this, and this, whatever."
Yeah.
So I agree with you to a point, but for me, I think I'm able to look at something and you may tell me something and I'll, hmm, you
Yeah.
know,
But again, everything you're hearing is, besides on the news, you're probably seeing some of it on social media. And even though you don't think it affects your point, it possibly could still.
true.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. All right.
I I've been listening to a certain debate channel on TikTok, and I mean, it's not just that, but there's a couple of debaters that are frequent in that show, and I respect them as leftists because they're very consistent. Like I value consistency over um, facts and evidence for your, if you're pro-choice and you're pro-choice because of bodily autonomy, but then I ask you, were you also bodily autonomy when it came to the last couple of years, that thing, then I respect you if you're pro-choice on them both. But if you say pro-choice in the abortion argument and then you say but everyone should have had to take that, then we've got a problem. And I don't respect that, because then you're cherry picking. And it's like, if someone is so far left or so far right in every point on that board, I tend to question whether, because I think a lot of these arguments are contradicting each other. If you're consistent to your philosophy, I've got more respect for you.
As opposed to, oh, this works for me today, so I'll go with this
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
And then tomorrow, this works for me.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Because
that I respect
here's
too.
one. There was one. Sorry, there was one I'm sure you've heard a lot of people say if you're a cis white male, you don't get to talk, or you're a white man, so you can't talk on race, or you're a white man, you can't talk on, or you're a man, you don't get to talk on abortion. But yet, I've watched this week men get to talk on abortion in this debate because they side with the pro-choicers. They're allowed to speak, but if they're pro-life, they don't get to speak. You're a man, you don't get to speak.
Okay, but this is on a pro-choice show.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Right. So if you were on a pro-life show and if you had men who were pro-life, they would get a chance to talk because it's a pro-life show. So
you can push back on me for this. I genuinely believe this is why hey, there might be far right shows that won't let a pro-choice. I doubt it, and that's where I'm going to be biased. I really do. I think the right are more. I honestly do. I really do.
Right or more open?
Come on.
Yeah.
Come on, boss. So wait, so you're going to sit here and tell me that if you have someone who was pro-choice and they went on a pro-life show, someone who, whether they were far right, far left, whatever, but they were pro-choice, and they kept saying that, pro-life, or I'm sorry, they were on a pro-life show, but they kept saying pro-choice, pro-choice, pro-choice. You don't think they're going to get some quick pushback, and you don't think that they're going to?
I can't talk for everyone, but I wholeheartedly believe that in that instance there might be other ones that I think the right are more. This is why me and you, when I met you, I was hooked, because I was like, here's someone on the left that wants to debate. They want to enter these conversations, because how many times have I told you on TikTok that I've been muted, I've been blocked, and it's all by leftists? Like I literally
I was blocked by a black male, and I told you this, a black male, because this woman was calling this other consistently throughout the entire show, bitch, 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 bitch. I called her a Karen, and this black guy was like, oh, sorry, Salad. Nope, you can't call anybody a Karen, and he bounced me. I'm like, damn, you've been allowing this person who you've been siding with this entire time call this 18-year-old girl, this 18-year-old girl who was of mixed race, and she was talking about being mixed, and this white woman was telling her she didn't know what she was talking about, that she lived in Africa for 2 years, and she didn't know, and this mixed girl was saying, my father is from Nigeria, I lived in Africa, I do this, I do that. And this woman kept saying, oh, you're just a bitch. Just consistently throughout the entire show. And I'm sitting there just waiting for this guy to okay, we can't say that, but he was like co-signing for her. Yeah. And then as soon as I said, okay, this woman is just a Karen, boom, I was gone. So, you may want to think that, and I can think that I can say, oh no, people who are on the left, they'll come on and they'll let people talk, but I know that's not true, because that's not true. Some people may not. So I think you and your perfect kid, which I am going to talk to Regan about your perfect child. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, I think the left are more open to censorship. Like in my experience, the left use intolerance and censorship a lot in these debates. Like people like you, I can go into a debate and say something and go, block, mute, he's being problematic, or you don't get to speak because you're this, and it's all intolerance, and that's I genuinely believe that is because the social Marxist indoctrination that they're teaching people in school. Like I'm sure you heard about punch a Nazi, don't talk to these people. So that's people like me. Like I'm not allowed. Yeah, it was kind of a thing back in, I think it was before Trump, maybe, that they came out with punch a Nazi. Anybody that anyone has views like mine is a Nazi, and you shouldn't conversate with them because you'll never.
I've never heard of that one.
Yeah. So this is what I'm saying. I'm in group chats or telegrams and TikTok debates, and that's the rhetoric is like, you go up and they'll talk over the top of you, or they'll say that's just wrong, and then they'll bounce you, they'll throw you out.
But don't you think it also depends upon if you're going into these shows? There are a lot of other shows where people are doing the same thing. I mean, okay, all right.
I mean, actually, I'm saying
the right does it. Look at Fox News.
Yeah. I just don't.
Come on, but I just think that's being a little bit naive there. That you're going to say that you
Maybe,
don't
but I
think
can
that.
only talk from experience, and I'm not being disingenuous. I genuinely.
No, I mean,
this
no,
is my-
I believe that you truly, truly think this. But I'm just saying that.
I would love. I think most people on the right would love to have like me and you, right? Like how we are. They'd love to have a leftist to debate and talk to, because I genuinely believe that the difference between right and left is the left, especially in today's world, are using emotions to push their beliefs,
Okay.
and the right are using facts and statistics and
The right is using facts.
yeah.
All right. You know what, Reagan. This is when literally when people on the right start saying that. Sometimes I can't help myself and I want to interrupt, and other times I just keep my mouth shut, shake my head, and
Right? Can I?
and
I
that's it.
wasn't. This is deep, so don't. If you don't want to talk about this, we can easily move on because it is. But this is relevant.
I'm finding you quite amusing with that statement, though. I'm sorry. I mean, come on. Fox News is saying stuff that we don't even know about. When the warrant was served on Trump, they're talking about that he had the right to do this, he had the right to do that. When proof is being said that he did not have the right to take those things by law. Those things should not have left certain rooms.
But
meanwhile,
if Obama or Hillary did it,
the server.
It would be like this huge, whatever.
Lock her up. Lock her up.
Right.
Remember that? Lock her up.
Right. So I'm just saying, come on now. And that's why you just shake your head. And
if Obama took that sensitive stuff home with him, the right would have had a field day on him.
Wait, they had a field day when he wore. Remember when Obama wore a beige suit, and Fox News went ballistic? He had on a beige suit, and they're gonna say how he's supposed to look, how he's supposed to dress, whatever. A beige suit. So you take that, which is just absolutely ridiculous, and that so.
You know my beliefs on all that stuff. I'm talking about
I understand what you're saying, but I'm just saying, but you cannot discount stuff like that because it's ridiculous and it's stupid, and they do it.
So what would you call? I suppose I would call them the isms, like the racism, sexism, abortion. I know that's not an ism. Transgenderism, the isms. Like, see all the hot topics that come over now and again, like the hot topic and all that. The ideology behind these. Now, Regan, before I say this, you know how I feel about
you can say.
But the ideology behind these isms, in order to push them into society, which I know the people on the far left, the far right are against, and I told you I'm not against them.
Mm-hmm.
Is a feelings-based thing. It's like it's social Marxism. So it's basically the argument I was going to say is I posted a video on our TikTok this week, which was. Now, again, this is why I said if you don't want to talk about this, we can easily skip because it is dark. And I don't want to also darken the other isms with this because this is uniformly people are against it, right? But I posted a video of a woman talking about pedophilia and how they're going to rebrand it as MAPS, MAPS. I should really have got do you know the anagram?
It was because that was such a ridiculous. Her whole argument on that was it was disgusting.
So I posted it, and as an antagonistic thing to get because it's a tactic we all use to antagonize, get likes, get comments, and all that. I put this was once a conspiracy theory because basically what she's saying is she's trying to normalize it, saying that it's a thing that people are born with, and we need to
minor attracted individuals or something. Minor attracted persons.
Yeah.
So instead of saying pedophiles, you're saying minor attracted persons.
Yeah. So
correct.
Yeah. So before I go on, I know that is I'm sure everyone on this panel is against it, and I know the LBGT community have voiced their opinion. They don't want that next to their, because this is what I said. I did it to annoy people and to get and I wrote, this was once a conspiracy theory, LBGT ... P, and it did piss a lot of people off, and that's what it was intended to do, I think. But at the same time, I do genuinely believe it will be added one day, and the people in the LBGT community will hate that, and I'm on your side with that. I don't think you should, but
I hope not.
The point of the matter is it doesn't matter what you think. It doesn't matter what I think. It will happen. And the reason it will happen is because, and this is the crux of the story, the ideology behind what that woman was saying is the same ideology that the transgender, some transgender people use, some of the all the isms, the racism, the abortion, every talking point issue is that ideology. So I know.
Also, you also have the right that's using the same isms. Oh, and Regan, I just shared.
You don't.
What?
I know you. I know they do, but in this argument or this topic, that ideology of we should all feel sorry for these people and my feelings trump your facts, it's now going to turn against us with the pedophilia stuff, because I was on a live today, and this is why it's relevant and in my mind, where someone had seen that video and sent me their live. I joined, and they were straight on me saying, why did you say LBGT? We don't want that. We don't want it. I was like, I know that. You know that, but it'll happen. And they're like, so as the conversation went on, they literally, by the end of the conversation, I stayed quiet for about half an hour. By the end of the conversation, they had all convinced themselves that maybe it is a defect that they're born with, and maybe we should treat it a bit more like a mental. So I looked at my phone. I had 5% battery, and I said, I'm really sorry, guys. I have to go, and I'm not just saying this. I've got 5%, but you guys have just proved my point that in a space of half an hour, you're all feeling sorry for these people and treating them like, well, they were even saying we should maybe give them a pill if we can get a pill for it. And these people, this was a phrase that sickened me. These people are just acting on their impulses, because that to me tells me that you're saying that I know there's people that are messed up in the world. There's serial killers. There's there is bad people, but for you to say they're acting on their impulses, that doesn't wash with me, because it's something that has to be planned. They're literally typing in pedophile websites. They're texting people. That's not acting on your impulses. That's thought about. You know what you're doing when you're typing. You know what you're doing when you're jumping on a bus to go and meet a 14-year-old, 10-year-old, or whatever. Mm-hmm. So this is what I'm saying. They, in that half an hour, were dead against it, but in that half an hour managed to go, do you know something? And even when I made my final comment, they still push back. But you can guarantee there's going to be people in the world that will view those people and have a heart. Oh, really? Oh, that's a shame. Don Lemon talked about it on CNN. He felt sorry for a paedophile that was up in court because he had a heartthrob story. And Don Lemon says on air, really kind of feel so. I know it sounds bad, but I really feel sorry for him.
Well, and I don't watch Don Lemon. I mean, that's just like saying you look at the Holocaust people, in the last, especially in the 90s, when a lot of the guards were being brought to trial, whatever, and they were like 90 years old, and they're saying, but they're 90. Well, okay, but they were torturing and killing people who didn't make it to 90. So why do I care that this man is 90 and he's your great grandfather?
Yeah.
At least he was able to become a great grandfather. These other people weren't.
Yeah,
exactly.
So I mean, but on something like that, I understand, because then they're going to say, well, serial killers, they're just acting on their impulse, even though they kill, 50 people. Yeah.
But who's not to say they're going to act on it again?
Right.
So, yeah.
So, but I understand what you're saying, and I've said this before, and I know you and one other person, y'all don't like me saying this, but on both sides.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
So you got nuts on both sides, and you got, people who have common sense on both sides. But for me, just with everything, it's like, people, come on, you have to have common sense, and you have to know what's right and wrong. And I still say that when it happens to you, all of a sudden it's a different story. When it doesn't happen to you and you don't, whatever, then it's something else. I'm not saying that you have to be meaner or whatever, but there are some things that, people get, some people don't, so.
What about the other side of it, where they say white men can't talk about race, men can't talk about abortion? Do you guys believe that? Do you subscribe to that?
I'll let Regan answer, and then I'll answer.
I don't believe men should have the right to tell women what to do with their body. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's their body. Mm-hmm. I think they should just stay out of it. For example, the birth control pills. Well, it's also used for other things besides birth control, and they're already trying to take that away. They're slowly starting to strip women and other minorities of rights. Yeah. So I do believe that there is this white male privilege, mm-hmm. where it should be everybody privilege.
Yeah.
That's just, let people do with their bodies as long as they're not harming others. And I understand there should be the gestation period before the baby becomes a viable human. If it's before that, yes, let the woman decide. It's her body. She does, whether she wants to carry it or not, it's up to her. But, there comes a point where it goes too far, and then, I'm just kind of getting off on that. I think they just let them be. Don't influence your opinion. Don't make what you believe in what other people have to believe in.
Yeah. What about you, Solid?
I think that, again, I've said this, and Bob always smiles when I say this. Men have no idea how the female body works. I mean, seriously. I mean, half the time we don't know how it works. I mean, I think it's funny when men want to talk about a woman's period, and it's like a lot of times, a lot of women, they're not on a consistent time frame. You can have one in January and you may not have another one in April and whatever. And there are women who literally do go 6 months and they don't know that they are actually having a baby. They do not know, so, and for men to say, oh, well, women should do this and women should do that. I mean, come on. And Clarence Thomas, I have to shake my head on him, because he wants to push this whole, the birth control thing now, and he wants to push this. He wants to push that. But I find it interesting that he wants to limit this and limit that and limit this. But it wasn't Chip Roy. It was a senator, a conservative senator. It was either out of Kentucky or out of Georgia. Mm-hmm. Came and said that he doesn't think that there should be interracial marriages. Mm-hmm. Clarence Thomas fought back on that. I'm like, so now when it's coming to your door, you don't want that to happen. That's why I said that with Roe versus Wade is opening the doors to some of these other things, because if you don't have interracial marriages, then that means that there are some people who technically would not be able to get married. You have people who you cannot mix. Basically, there's no race mixing. So when you start making all these rules and these men, and it's all these men who are making these rules for women, I'm like, how you seriously? Really?
I was actually going to say that again about the interracial vote, where they said that it was racist. The Republicans was it 18 out of the 19 Republicans voted for no and one said yes. Is that right, or something?
It was something along that, but I know that it was just whacked the way they just, I mean,
did you see who voted no? It was a guy that was black and he was married to a white woman, mm-hmm. and he voted no. Mm-hmm.
This is what I'm saying. That in terms of your question of you said should white people or should white men talk about race?
No, I just mean that ideology. I know Reagan kind of went with the abortion thing, but I just mean in general. Do you like that ideology of unless you're part of that group, you don't get a say?
I mean, I think that you have a say, but I think that some of the says are just a little bit like seriously. Like one thing that I cannot stand is if you people would only, if you people would only, and it's like, well, first of all, why don't you just say who those people are?
Those people are.
I mean, and then when we get pissed because you say well, we're not supposed to. Oh, now you don't want us to talk about. Well, why don't you talk to us in a respectful way?
Yeah.
Why don't you come at me in a respectful way? But don't say, well, you people. What the hell does you people mean? Well, if you people would only stop and raise your hands, if you all only do this, but then again, you see that us people. Not all, but some of us, we do stop and raise our hand. Bam, bam. So don't say the you people. And they do the same thing with the whole trans thing, whatever. You people. Who is you people? Tell me who you people are.
Yeah.
Because then when we push back, it's like, oh, white man, we cannot allowed to do this. And then, seriously? So, and that's why sometimes I'm just like, you know what, just keep your mouth shut, because as Boss said to me about something, that no matter what you say that we can't win, it goes on the other side too. No matter what you say, you can't win.
Yeah. The reason I ask is I just find that all these thoughts are coming to my mind because of TikTok debates, but it is something that I've known about.
I'm gonna have to sign up for TikTok because some of this stuff is kind of interesting.
Well, don't do it.
You will laugh because some of the stuff on there, Reagan.
I can imagine.
Yeah, but what I was saying, I think it's a dangerous precedent to say that just because you're not part of that group, you don't get to say. Because let's say Reagan touched on it there about like white privilege. Let's say the narrative changed and white people who run the world seemingly started saying you don't get to talk about white people because you're not white.
Okay, and you know what? And I think that we can leave white people out, but we would still have a lot to say.
Oh yeah.
You know what? We don't even have to talk about you or white people, in order to have something to say.
Because basically what that is doing is not allowing people to criticize that group, because just like I said earlier with pro-choice argument, pro-life, some pro-choicers won't let pro-lifers on, and it's like, if you're a man and you're pro-choice, you'll get on, but if you're a man and you're pro-life, you won't get on. So basically, people are filling it's an echo chamber. It's filling your own mind. You're surrounding yourself with people that are saying nice things to you. And then, which is a big problem, you're coming up against people in everyday society and you're being offended. I've never heard this before. What's that? Oh, you've hurt me. I'm getting upset. It's like, to me, you're being disingenuous to your own beliefs. If you're strong-willed, like, this is the thing I was going to try and pay a compliment with Reagan earlier, is you don't, when I said assert yourself, you're not the type to go on no, I'll start it again. You seem comfortable in who you are, and that's and that is why I respect you wholeheartedly.
I have to be. I have to be. I mean, trust me, it's not a life that I chose. I didn't wake up one day and say, you know what? Let's go spend thousands of dollars on surgeries just for the fun of it. Yeah. But I have to be confident because of this is where I am.
Yeah, because I genuinely think there are people who are trans or any of these isms, and they're not fully comfortable in their decision, and they're jumping into debates, and they're jumping into debates with people, almost like to reassure themselves, and like they're getting emotional. Like that today, there was a TikTok debate, and she ended up in tears because of certain comments in the chat. She was reading the comments and everyone was telling her, stop it. There are people in the chat just doing things and saying things to annoy you, and they're winning. Don't let them win. Like, and there are people who they're not wholeheartedly comfortable in who they are, because to me, and this goes for me as well, why are you why are you jumping into these debates if you're, that way? Like, and that's why I seen that in you is like, I genuinely, and I knew this, I'm not small minded to know there aren't, but there are people that are genuinely, born in their own body. And your story was, heartbreaking. And I'm like, those are the
I
people
don't want
that,
it to be heartbreaking. I just, just let people
yeah,
know what we go through.
yeah. But I mean, your testament is, I would say that these people are doing a disservice. I think there's a lot of maybe infighting in the LGBT community about certain
Yes.
people being maybe. I would say there's even people part of the trans community, the LGBT community, that are only there to back them up, and they're not even part of it themselves, and they're probably doing a disservice to these people. Like they're performative, they're
But there's
feeling.
people in every group that are backing others.
Yeah,
It's just not just the LGBT community. There's,
yeah,
people backing lots of things. But
yeah,
some people do cause harm to the LGBT community, and some people who are
yeah,
not part of it do help the LGBT community.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, so I
But
have. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Reagan.
no, go right ahead.
Okay, so again, Reagan, this may seem like a really ignorant question, but we
No,
were,
go right ahead.
I mean, this is what I'm saying. We get on these shows and we start talking. So now you see why when Bob and we talk about some everything. So, but
I wish I had the knowledge of some of it to have joined in. I don't, because of my work schedule. I go to
Yeah.
bed at 8:30 at night, get up at 3 in the morning, and my only relaxation watching TV to try to catch the news is actually like at 3 o'clock in the morning. Um, so I watch other things, so I'm not fully up to date on all the news, just some of it.
no, that's
Yeah.
fine. But you can still voice, what your opinion
Oh, yeah.
is. Okay, so menstrual cycles. I'm coming back to menstrual cycles. I have heard that, and I still don't understand it, how some trans people can get pregnant. Can trans going from a man to a woman, can they have menstrual cycles?
No.
Okay,
Inside
so
the and I'm going to try to word this as properly as I can, but there's an ending to our canal where there isn't for a cisgender female. So mine has end of the road, can't go any further. So there's no inside of me that can flow out.
so when they say trans men are getting pregnant,
Trans men are females turning into
okay, all
males.
right, okay,
So they
got
have
it,
the uterus, they have the ovaries, they have everything because they are born a woman.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like when a male turns into a female, they remove the outside and create in. You can't close off a canal, as far as I know, to turn a woman where that area is all closed off and you're not going to have a cycle anymore, unless they pull out the insides. So they still have a period, unless they're on testosterone. I believe they stop their period, I think, but I'm not sure. And they still can get pregnant.
Okay, you're gonna have to repeat that whole thing because at one point the two of you were frozen, and I'm like, okay, I'm the only one not frozen, and you all just came back. So can you start from how they can get pregnant?
Because they have the ovaries, they have the uterus, they can still have sex with men.
Yeah.
So they have everything you have inside because they were born female.
Okay, but if you have but they no longer the vagina is gone though. They have a.
You really can't close that. As far as I know, you cannot close an area that can build up with bacteria and all that stuff. Because the woman's vagina, you all of a sudden close that permanently, you're going to have bacteria building up. So there still has to be an opening, as far as I'm aware.
They're not okay. So where a male can go from male to, and guys out there, I'm truly wanting to know this. So where a male can go from male to female and totally change, but a female going to male, they're not totally changed. Then
there is a way for them to create a phallus a penis with a pump. Sometimes it's like in their groin area that they can pump to have a erection, but it's still not. They're not going to have the feeling like a man with a penis would. Just like I'm never going to have the feeling that a woman with a real vagina is going to have.
Yeah.
But they can still have intercourse with men, and that sperm make it up. They can get pregnant.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to go to the abortion thing. So, do you think that a transgender person going from a female to male should have a voice in the abortion argument, whether you're pro or pro-life or pro-choice?
Because she is a female who could become pregnant, she has a right. Oh,
I'm saying from female to male.
Right, but she still has. He still has. I'm the worst at misgendering. I misgender myself half the time. They still have
the ability
to be pregnant. Okay. So they deserve the right to voice in. I mean, they could turn around, have sex tomorrow, and they get pregnant. They have that right.
Okay. Right.
See, I was going to ask this earlier. I'll quickly see when you say solid men shouldn't get to say what they do. Are you meaning on our level, like in debates and talks and chats, or do you mean at the government level? Because the reason I ask is surely there are females making these decisions as well. It's not just
yes, but the majority of them are male, and throughout time, a lot of the laws that have been made for females over time have been by men. I mean, from everything from not having the right to vote, all these are from men. Yeah. So I'm just saying, just from historical and just from what we see now, yes, there are women. There's some women over here, one some over there, but a lot of these laws, are men.
Yeah.
And I got to say, a lot of the right are sitting there saying, well, we want the government to stay out of people's lives.
But they're in everybody's life. But yet
they're trying to take away people's rights that are not white cisgender men. They focus on everybody else in any other community, but going after the white cisgender Republican men. They're going after LGBT people. They're going after women. They're going after everybody and anybody. But tell me where they're going after white Republican men. They're not.
I would say, how could I word this?
But meanwhile, you take their Viagra away. Whoo-wee.
That's something that I do push back on, only because I think a lot of these topics, like for instance, here's another analogy. I was in a TikTok debate again, talking about the abortion argument, and I voiced my opinion on the theory as to why I think they're doing it. I didn't get into why my views, if I was pro-life or pro-choice. I just said, I think the reason that they're taking away abortion, well, they hadn't yet. I don't know if they still haven't yet. They've overturned it and they've left it up to the state. So I don't know the result of that or when we'll see it. But I have a theory on why they're doing it now. And I voiced that opinion. And then this black woman came on and said that I was being inherently racist. She knew I didn't mean to be. And I just didn't get it. It blew my mind, because the reason I think they're doing it now is because of if they ban it now and then we go into climate change and the stuff that we're going to see with that, I believe they might throw in the one child per household that China adopted in the 80s or the 90s, I believe. I think America could see that, and then they'll go, oh, look, abortion was banned in 2022. Oh, well, if you have more than one, we can criminalize you. It'll be like, oh, so I said this. Now, I don't think that was racist at all, because that will affect everyone. So how is that? Like, this is what I meant by people can insert themselves into, Like I'm sure you've heard people starting off a conversation with, as an Indigenous white male, or as a black man, or as a trans, it's like they're inserting their authority and
Mhm.
you tell me, because you just mentioned there, Reagan, unless you're white cis male. So can you tell me any law that has been passed that doesn't affect, like, that only affects a certain group? Because to me, if it affects more than one group, then it's not a racist thing, or it's not a sexist thing, you know?
Some of the laws that have passed, there's the don't say gay bill that that affects one group. If I got your question correctly, again, I'm not
Yeah.
still new to these things, but they are inserting into one particular group there, and it's the white men that are doing it.
I'm not familiar with the don't say. Do you know that one,
Oh, in
Solid?
the state of Florida, don't say
Florida,
gay.
it's always Florida. It's either Florida or Texas. Either Florida or Texas. We're there. I mean, and see,
Exactly.
and that is what I think is the total joke. On one hand, I would like to know we want freedom, democracy, whatever. But it's like your democracy is different from what my democracy is, because my democracy is freedom, but yet you're doing all these things to restrict them. Now, teachers in Florida, when they go into the classroom, literally they pretty much have the students tattletelling on the teacher if the teacher doesn't teach this, if the teacher doesn't do this. They even had gay couples, if teachers, to take their pictures down. You cannot put your family photos up because it may offend a child.
The parents can sue the school system if the teacher brings up something about gay.
Yes, and this is all this crap coming out of Florida, and pretty soon it's going to be Texas. Is all these red states that are doing this stuff. They're like, oh, we care about people. Oh, but we, facts and figures, all this other stuff. Okay, I don't care. Y'all can talk about all the facts and figures you want. But when it comes down to, are you restricting someone's rights? Yes.
They went through the books of the schools. The government went through the math books, the science books, and removed them because there was some type of Johnny and his husband went to the store to pick up 10 fruit.
They don't even want you talking about Martin Luther King anymore.
No.
But yet it's okay to talk about Thomas Jefferson, who raped people and had babies by him. But because he's the third president of the United States, then we can talk about him. Okay, we can talk about him, but let's talk about him.
I'm with you on all those things. I think that's wrong. I just don't know about them. I'm sorry. I'm not being like I did hear about the don't say gay thing, but I didn't look into it. But what I will say is, until I look into it, see you just said there they took down the pictures of the families that were gay. I wouldn't be surprised if they took down all the families, and they're just trying to wind people up by saying they only took down they took down them all.
They took no, Ian. You're trying to go.
If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But that's what they do. They'll leave out details that'll piss a certain population.
And yes, I do believe that happens. But for this, it was we're going to we are going to take down the photos. If you are gay, whatever, you have to take down your family photos. And I think that's wrong. I mean, seriously, because the bottom line is the world is made up of everybody. So when
teachers have to go ahead. I'm sorry.
And I was just going to say that and when little Johnny gets out of third grade and he goes to the store, he is going to see somebody who is possibly a trans, gay, black, white, purple, green, whatever. The world is not going to be in that little room. When he goes out, he's going to be in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And didn't they try to take away or make it that the teachers had to go to the parents if a child goes to them and says, why am I attracted to other boys? Or why, girl goes, why am I finding another girl pretty? Florida, I don't know if they passed it, but want it to be that the teacher is required within a certain amount of time to bring that information to the parents.
And you know what's dangerous about that is that
Huh.
you have some children, because of their home life, because of their parents and their parents' views and what have you, don't want to talk to their parents. Just like with
You
this,
don't out a child. Don't out a child.
you absolutely don't. And you have girls, or even some boys who, if they get pregnant, they're not telling their mother and father. They will not tell them. They want someone else that they can feel safe telling this to. So this is why all this stuff, to me, I'm just sitting back and waiting, because it's all going to backfire. It's going to backfire with the very people who were pushing it. It's going to be your children. It's going to be all that it is going to happen to. And
what's going to happen is a Republican couple that their little daughter is going to get pregnant by a black guy, and then all of a sudden it's going to be, okay, let's go get an abortion.
One of my friends, we were actually laughing about that. We're like, yeah, we're gonna see what happens when she comes home saying that she got pregnant by Marcus, and see what happens. They're gonna be down at the, where can we get an abortion, because my daughter is not gonna have this black baby. So we were talking about that. So and speaking of babies, and Bob, I have not forgotten, because I want to get Regan's view on this, on Bob's perfect child. Now, he does not have children as of yet, but I would like, I'm not going to put words in his mouth. I want Bob to explain how this perfect child that he is going to have, and I want to just look at your facial expressions while he's talking about this perfect child that he is going to raise, and then we can go from there. So,
okay.
So I actually said this to someone recently, so I might be all right at this, because otherwise this could be like a half an hour story. But basically, the way I view human beings now has changed dramatically in the last 6-7 years, because I literally look at us like we are computer programs that are made up of percentages of certain experiences that we have experienced. And this is, I didn't voice this on our show because I didn't want, I can now, I feel more comfortable to say it now, because you now wholeheartedly know I've what's the word? Like I said earlier about, there are genuine trans people like yourself, but there are also people who I believe are confused and don't know what they are, and
you're definitely confused until you get to a certain point. That there's definite confusion.
Would you also believe, like, I mean, we could take the trans out and say, like, gay or bi? Do you think there are some people that are just going through a phase and then they go back to being like because to me, I think that is telling, and that doesn't, there are like people like you, I think that's what they are taking away from you, from like the whole movement, is these people are doing a disservice to the cause.
No, the confused people who want to experiment. I mean, that's how they're going to find out which side of the fence they're on.
Okay, because on you.
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I think in all walks of life there are young, impressionable kids that see things on TV and try it and then say it's not for them, and I think, not just in the trans community, in the whole LGBTQ and other things as well. Not just, because it seems like I'm picking on them a lot. It's just, it's not them. It's the ideology that I like, the emotions and all that, more than facts.
But tell her how you want to raise this child of yours.
So I see human beings as like, basically the first 7 years of a baby's life is when they learn the most, they're a sponge and all that. So I generally see like a serial killer. I use that a lot because I think it's the best way to describe it. But if you look at your Jeffrey Dahmers, your Ted Bundys, your John Wayne Gacy's, you'll notice patterns in their lives. Not all the time. And again, this is where Solid annoys me, but I get it. But you like, you'll come up with some exception. Well, this person was this and they didn't go on and do that. Like, I know there are exceptions, and it's not a perfect
but
science.
You're not getting to the point of how you want to raise your child.
Well, So
He's avoiding the subject.
I genuinely believe that if you are ticking all these boxes as to like I think two parents at home are the best, and I know that's not a privilege for most people now. One parent at home is the best we can do, and even that's a hard thing to do. But these things are all contributing to the outcome of a human being. So if I've got jealousy issues with a partner, you can trace that back to something in my childhood. If I beat my wife up, you can trace that back to something in my childhood or an influence when they grew up. You know, I'm not just talking about childhood, also like through your teens, you're impressionable, and it's learned behavior. Everything that we do is learned behavior, down to our hypocrisy, down to our procrastination, down to the way we behave with people, down to our confidence levels. It's all been a thing. So when I see people and well, okay, I'll go back to that. I think you can basically bring up a child almost close to, like, I know I know you say perfect and you're kind of throwing me under the bus, but I think you can basically bring up a child and make them a success. You know that they won't turn to drugs. You know that they won't do this. That you know that they'll. I know this is going to sound really bad, but I think you can bring up a child and they won't be part of the LGBT community, and not that you would love them any less. I certainly
I
wouldn't.
don't think you could stop that, because I know families that both kids are gay, or the producer of the two brothers for the Matrix are now that created the Matrix are now two sisters. It's who you are.
Yeah.
And I honestly believe it's either a gene thing or something in the body, but you can't, just because they have a perfect childhood, can't make it so they won't turn gay or they won't transition.
Okay, but the other thing that Bob said was, if you love your child and if you talk to them and you all have these heart to hearts and you all are sitting around the dinner table together, your child is not going to grow up and go rob a bank. And I disagree with that, because when you are, again, Bob, and I say this because you have control of your child for so long. But then when they go to school, even if they're 5, they are around other kids. When they get into their teen years and they're not coming home necessarily to have dinner with you, and they're like, hey, I'm going to go stay at John's house and we're going to have dinner and stuff. If John is in his bedroom smoking weed and you're a perfect child who never smoked weed, and John was like, hey, Bob, you want to hit this, whatever? And you're like, well, I don't know. And then he's like, oh, come on. And he does. All of a sudden it's like, woohoo, whatever. I'm just saying that perfect child that you think that you're raising and is not going to be gay or not going to rob a bank or whatever, they're around people that
they're around TV.
Yes. I mean, but not even TV. I'm just saying, even if you don't have a TV in your house, they're still going to go outside and they're not going to be around you, and they're going to be around people who have TVs, or they're going to be around people who do this. So you
So what would you say to the, I'm thinking in my head right now, I'm going, we've all seen films and TV programs, because that seems how far-fetched this idea of a well-behaved child is, that we don't see it anymore. But what about these young adults in movies that don't, you see that? I'm thinking of like Grease Lightning, when Sandy at the girl sleepover and they're all smoking and she's like, oh no. And that what would you say that Sandy, if that was a real life situation? Because there are children who are like, no, I'm going home. I need to go home. I'm not touching drugs. And what would you say that the difference is between them and the other ones then?
I mean, I would say that yes, their upbringing does have something to do with it. But the bottom line, but hold on. But the bottom line is it is them, because my son, I think I look at him sometimes and I'm like, you are so green. You are naive. People will be able to do this, whatever, like this. He's a really nice person, one of the nicest people I know. And people say, oh, your son is just this, and this, and this. And then I find out something. I said, you did what? And it's like, this little perfect child that I thought that I had gone and did something. Seriously?
It's not Leave It to Beaver.
It isn't. And then he'll say, oh, but I wanted to do this and I want to do this. And I'm like, it's like that perfect child that you think you have. It's like, because he was around this, and this person, whatever, you know, that Sandy who didn't necessarily, but then we see at the end, Sandy busted out in those leather pants, though, didn't she? So in those sewed in leather pants. So her hair was this, and she had a cigarette, and she knew how to flick the cigarette. So
So like go back into. I mean, again, this is another we'll have to go back in time to think of this, but I suppose religion would be the main reason for this. But children respected their parents, that kind of seems to be gone.
But I think that there is respect there, depending upon how kids were raised. But at the same time, if you're spending time with this one kid or these other people, you may start to act like them. So, Bob, before you say anything else, I just want to ask Regan. Do you think that there's reality in what Bob is saying, that your child is not going to turn into Frankenstein?
No, because unless you put them inside of a box where they cannot see anything else except for your Leave It to Beaver household, they step outside, all of a sudden reality is going to hit them.
Yeah.
And they're going to sway whichever way they're meant to sway.
And even Beaver got in trouble.
Yeah.
I don't know that you've used it there, Regan, and you used it on last week's show or a show.
Just I know you claim you don't watch TV, but this is one that you should be able to get in the UK. Just watch one episode. Leave It to Beaver. It was on from 1958 to 1962, 63. Just watch one episode, and you'll be able to get all the rest of the years, and you'll know what we're talking about when we say Leave It to Beaver.
Yeah.
The mom was a stay-at-home mom, and June Cleaver had on her pearl necklace while she washed the dishes and cleaned the house and what have you.
And when he came home from work, he gave her a kiss, put his suitcase down.
He gave her the suitcase. And then she put it down, and she was the loving wife, and she did everything. And
so the kids came running down the stairs. Daddy, you're home.
Daddy, you're home. Yeah.
So that's interesting, because that's what I mean. Let's say that you brought a kid into the world and you made your kid. I know I'm not advocating for this, but if you sat your kid down and made your kid watch that show and also practiced that show in your own home, your kid would grow up to be like that.
No, I think the kid nowadays would be disgusted and be like, "No, Mom or Dad, no."
Yeah. Well, there is that.
But again, why can't you just let your child experience the world as it is and go in the direction of travel that, instead of sheltering them until they turn 18, like I think a lot of the conservatives are doing, trying to protect the children in school from learning about this, learning about that, learning over here. Then all of a sudden they get out in the real world and there's a black gay couple and they'll have no idea what to do. They'll be like, "Oh my God, I've never seen that before." Let them grow up to the real world.
See, that there is where I'm realizing this now. I'm kind of struggling with formulating what I believe, because the easiest one to say, we actually touched on it at the start of the show, where I says I am far right. I do have some conservative far right views, but I also know you couldn't police it because you would be a dictator. I also truly believe in freedom and everyone should have the same equal rights. But the analogy I would use, because I think it's least, it would piss the least amount of people off maybe, is pornography. I think pornography has a lot to answer for and is damaging the way we are in society. It's causing a lot of issues. And would I, if I became president, take pornography away? Because this is the problem. This is where I'm at right now. Do I? Because I've heard some people say that, it was actually Luis on our last show where he kind of voiced a little bit about being authoritative is a good thing when a population of people. This is what he said.
No, he said that oppression was also a good thing.
Yes,
he said
that's
oppression.
What I'm saying. When people are oppressed, it's actually good for them. And I'm not that, to me, that every inch of my body just cringes when I heard that. But how about me saying that right now, that I would maybe ban pornography because I think it's doing work, because it's a privilege and a freedom, but I would take it away. If Joe Biden took away pornography tomorrow, wiped it from the internet, stopped selling magazines and all that, would you guys be happy? Would that piss people off? What do you think?
Honestly,
I don't.
Go ahead, Regan. No, go ahead.
I don't sit there and look at pornography. I mean, when I was a little kid, what little boy didn't go find a Playboy magazine and take a look at it? And, but that's how a lot of kids grow up and learn what they are going to look at when they get older.
Yeah.
I mean, pornography, and I'm not talking dirty pornography. I'm talking like, the Playboy magazines or the Playgirl magazines, so they can see what they think they're going to be attracted to.
Right.
But again, it comes down to it's a right.
Yeah. So you would be against, if Joe Biden tomorrow banned pornography, would you be up in arms? Would you be angry?
I wouldn't be up in arms, but I would say that's really not his position to take it away. Just like I would say it's not his position to tell the schools don't talk about gay. So it's not a matter of right or left. It's that you don't have that right.
The only thing that I would say, that if Biden or whomever, president, prime minister, whomever, wanted to take away any type of porn, I would say all child porn, period, is wiped off. Child porn, gone.
Yeah.
Gone. And I would probably even go so far as saying anyone caught with child porn would go to jail, because if you're caught with it, why do you have it?
Yeah.
So anything dealing with that, but if you're looking at, if it's adult porn, whatever, I mean, some couples use porn to get off. So
yeah.
Can I throw a question out there that might be really, I've actually just thought of this. It might be a bit of a gotcha, but it's just to see how consistent you are with your argument. I heard on a podcast this week about a thing called, and this is going to get a bit vulgar, it's called a raspberry donut that is being shown in porn. This is a first for me. I heard it on Wednesday, right? A raspberry donut is when the man expults on the woman's face and then the man punches the woman in the nose and makes her bleed. How do you feel about that?
I've never heard of that.
I'd never heard of that.
That's what they get off on, and they're consensual adults.
Yeah. So you still feel the same way?
Again, if they're consensual adults, because again, I just said that anything dealing with
but it's these websites, these porn websites are showing this seemingly.
Okay, right. Okay, so but isn't that the same as you have these bondage websites, and you have the what is it, the choking, where some people choke to the point where they pass out? Is that any different if both of you all are saying, you can punch me in the face? And
it's nothing that interests me, but if they want to do it, let them.
You said raspberry what?
Raspberry donut. I heard it on Podbean on this week on Wednesday night when I was driving to work. I was listening to it.
Where'd you come up with this stuff?
And I'm pretty sure you can see it. I'm pretty sure on Twitter somebody's is actually. Oh, by the way, Regan, when this is over, I'm going to send you a couple of Twitters, and if you do happen to pop on, just follow me.
Okay. I'll make a Twitter account. I really don't have a Twitter account.
So you're still okay. After you're still okay.
Because it's
two adults. If you want to get punched in the face, have a man,
it might not be.
I am just going to say it. If you want to have a man come on you, I'm just going to say it. Then he punches you in the face. If that's what you want to do, it's sick. But if that's what you want to do, then
but do you not see the problem with maybe boys watching
violence?
But
you're saying boys will watch it. Yeah, boys. Okay.
Boys, there's couples. There's a guy spanking the woman while they're going at it.
Yeah. So I mean that's what I'm saying. So if they're spanking women and they're choking people, and
it's questions like that I think they're I mean, I tried to test you there, not in a bad way, but it's like if you're going to be true to your philosophy and say, look, I'm okay with pornography and I think it should be a freedom and a right that the government don't have a right to take away. And then if you guys, after that analogy, and that was I genuinely heard that this week, it was on Podbean, and if you guys had then said, okay, no, ban it, then I'd have been like, well,
no, I mean, there's
we
two
we
consenting
stuck
adults,
to
and that's what you want to do. You all go ahead and do, but just don't know. Yeah, no, this is not coming to my house.
it's nothing I'm going to watch.
My husband is not punching me in the face, and he's also not going in my face either. So, so yeah, my whole thing with porn is, if that's what you want to do, fine, but child porn,
oh no, yeah,
mm-mm.
I agree.
And the funny thing is, kind of going off the subject of porn, but not going off the subject of porn, wasn't it? What website is it that one of the big porn ones that found Washington, D.C. was the biggest for female porn?
And you know what? That has been talked about for years.
Yep.
That has been talked about for years. And all the people who are usually doing stuff like that on both sides are your senators and your people in the House on both sides.
Washington,
they're the ones
D.C.
having the affairs. They're the ones doing all this stuff, while they're passing laws for everybody else. Yeah. So, and I'm pretty sure it's just not here in the U.S. I think that, that when it comes to a lot of these places, they're passing all of these laws while you all are dipping doing the same thing.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have a list, and I'm going to have to send it to you guys by email because it's on my email. But the list of Republicans who have either raped a woman or been arrested for child, whether rape, pornography, or something like that. And then there's the list of Democrats. There are some Democrats. The list of Republicans, and I will send it, is gigantic. And it says their names and what they were convicted of. So, yeah, it's the ones who are against it are the ones that are doing it.
Yeah.
So let me ask you guys this. Do you think that we should go to a world? The only way I can say it is just a world with no laws, because it seems like that the people who are making the laws are the criminals. So
let's just have common sense laws.
I mean, but what do you do? Because I do have a problem with someone who is going to make a law about rape, but you've either raped someone or maybe your son did, and you tried to cover it up or pay somebody, whatever. So how can you make a law and you are just as guilty? Don't make a law about stealing something when you're embezzling money every year. I mean, you know what I'm saying? So what do you, I mean, what do you do? This is on both sides. I mean, I'm not even going to say both sides, no matter where you are, whether the reason why I don't want to say both sides, because in some places you have more than, two parties, you have 3, 4, 5. I mean, this is with everybody. What do you do?
Regan?
I think there still does need to be the laws, or else things would just be too crazy, worse than they are now.
But do you think it'll ever get better? Because
no,
I don't see it.
I think it's only getting worse.
It is.
But for the everyday laws, speeding or, you steal something at the store, I believe those laws still need to be enforced, or else society's just going to go more ballistic than it already is. But I don't see things getting better right now. Not anytime soon.
Yeah.
Do you believe in end of days? Do you
believe in the end of days, like this world's coming to an end? I think we need to do something before it does happen.
Do you think you'll see it in your lifetime?
Well, seeing how I just turned 50, I don't think in my day, but like I have a friend of mine, she has a couple kids, And I've actually said, you know, you got to feel bad for your kids because they're going to grow up when they're adults in a world that's just gone to hell. Whether, no matter the side, this world has gone to hell.
Yeah.
So I don't believe in my day, but it could be in her child's days or her child's days. But look what's happening. And I'm not even talking the laws and politics. I'm looking at what's happening. These states are on fire.
Mhm.
Water levels in Florida are raising. You know, parts of Florida are starting to slowly erode. There's the glacier ice that's melting, bringing the sea levels higher. There's bad bacteria in the waters here in Clearwater. The beach, not saying where exactly I live, but the beach down the street from me has bad water. The houses are burning. Just everything in this world, I think, is just kind of going to hell.
No, I mean, you're right, because in California, I don't even think that we, in terms of a nice beach, or when I say nice beach, I would not get into any of the water that is here, because it's just dirty, you know.
It's
And
bacteria infested.
it is, and when you just look at everything that is going on, I'm sorry, I've said it before, I think God is fed up. He's given us thousands and thousands and thousands of years to make it better. Humans destroy.
Mother Earth had it.
We destroy. And no matter whether you believe in climate change or whatever, this world, every place seems to, this summer just seems to be hot, 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 where it should not be. The weather should not be like this.
July, the United States,
it
it was 3 degrees higher than ever before.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's, yeah.
And
look what's happening.
And I just believe that God, I've said it before, I'm gonna keep saying it, God should just blow everything up and and start over, put animals at the top of the food chain and put humans at the bottom, because we have we've destroyed this world. It's not the cats, the dogs and the horses and the tigers and everything. It is us.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that's it. Go ahead, Bob. I know you want to push back on that.
No, you say that a lot, and I hate that mindset. Like, not only like we should, you know, start all over. That's a very, what's the word beginning with the N? That is it narcissist? Is that the word?
No, that's not narcissist.
Nihilist.
I mean, but okay, but I say that because when you just look around you, and you know, in my city where I live, it's about 65,000 people, which isn't a lot. Okay, but we've been building. I live on land that used to be dairies. Mm-hmm. Okay, so when my husband and I moved here, it was a bunch of flies, nothing but flies, because there were dairies everywhere, you know, and not just cows, everything. But we knew that this area was going to grow whatever, but we didn't know it was going to grow the way that it did, and it did. We are continuously cutting down spaces where animals used to live. So now if I walk my dog, I cannot walk my dog at a certain time at night because the coyotes will be out. And literally, I mean, you know, and coyotes are coming into people's yards, and they're eating and they're attacking the animals. And people are like, oh, we got to start killing these things. And you have some people out there with guns and they're killing them, whatever. But I'm like, why are we killing them when we're cutting down all of their resources?
Taking away from their environment.
You know, I mean, you have, and you see the videos and stuff where bears, it was really cute one time where a mama bear was in someone's pool with her 2 cubs, because, you know, they're trying to cool off, but they have nowhere else to go. So when I say that, you know, that God should just blow everything up because we're destroying everything. How many homes do you have to build? How many shopping, how many shopping malls do we need? And where I live, there's this one particular place that they cannot touch. You cannot touch it at all. And if you go there, it's like some of everything is there. You got Lord knows what is living there. But I'm just saying that literally you're walking down the street and you see these. I have possums that are in my backyard.
Yep. So do I.
I mean, seriously, and it's like, who the hell has possums in their backyard? But this is what it is. So I'm just saying, man is destroying so much. I'm sorry, what?
What's your possum called?
Ugly fat bastard. I'm sorry. That thing is so that thing and it runs from one end of the fence, like from my neighbor that's on the corner, and at night and we have a doggy door. So at night, if we have the door open, the dogs go in and out. At least two of them will. The other one still hasn't figured out how to use it. And the dogs will run out and they'll start barking. And this possum is running from one neighbor's from the corner, and it'll run all the way across, all the way to the other end. And my dogs are out there, and when they're barking at it, the possum will just stop. It'll sit on the thing. And I'm like, oh, Lord, please don't let that possum fall off the fence, because if my dogs get into a tangle with that possum, it's just nasty. It's just, again, like I said, and then I can be walking and I will see these raccoons and all this wildlife. And they're like out walking, crossing the street, like the light changed red. Here comes crossing the street, whatever. But I'm just saying that you're not supposed to see that, but we're seeing it because we're cutting down and we're invading all of their space.
Yeah.
So this is what I'm saying, and that's why I always come back to Alien 2, where when Sigourney Weaver said, you don't see the aliens fucking each other over for a goddamn percentage.
Yeah.
And animals don't do that. We do that. We fuck each other over. Mm-hmm. And that's why I say God is probably sitting there shaking his head, and he has a button or whatever he's going to do, and just get rid of everybody and start over.
Yeah.
And tearing all those areas down also screw us for the fact of air quality. Now we come down with cancer, lung cancer. Mm-hmm. I mean, we're taking away all these trees and bushes that help us,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So it may seem drastic when I say that, end of days, whatever, but the book of Revelations, it is there. Everything that is in the book of Revelations, all this stuff is happening. Mm-hmm. So whether you believe in the Bible or you don't, whatever, but there is definitely something going on. Yeah. And that's why I think that in the end, it doesn't matter if you're, gay, trans, black, white, straight, whatever. It's not going to matter, because we all going to be in the same
We're all going to be fried somehow.
We're all going to be in the same boat. We're all going to be that Noah's Ark, where we wish we had listened to Noah, and we're banging on the door trying to get in.
Can someone crack some jokes? We can't leave it like this towards the end.
Well, actually, I want to tell a joke that Spanky said on TikTok. Okay. When he did that whole thing, and Regan, I'm going to forward this one to you too, where he was talking about it's so hot, it's so hot. Yeah. He says it's so hot that the fire hydrants are fighting each other over which dog is going to piss on them.
Yeah. That was a funny video.
That one was funny. That one was funny. But anybody have? I know I left everything at a down. So okay, I will leave with something good. Mm-hmm. Liberals, yes.
Well, hopefully we're all around much longer, as opposed to what we were saying is going to happen. Yeah. Let's just hope and pray.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's all I can say.
Yeah.
But
Well,
I'll tell you a good child joke that someone's kid told me the other day.
Okay.
Why were the chickens mad at the pig for crossing the road?
because he said oink oink.
Because he was a road hog. It was a child joke. I told you up front, it was a child joke. And you know what? It's so stupid. You both laugh.
It's funny. It is funny. And now, Reagan, you're making me want to go and watch that movie, Wild Hogs. Have you
Yeah.
seen that movie?
I remember that movie, yes, with the Tim the Tool Man. I
Yes.
forget what his name is. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a funny movie. Well,
Yeah.
Reagan, I am glad that you came. I mean, we switched it up, but I thought we talked about a lot of stuff and we covered a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
I know I was silent on a lot of it, but
No, you
again,
weren't.
you know,
You
there's
actually weren't. You weren't. You were not silent at all.
well, you know, I'm always here whenever you need me, as long as I'm not working, which I work a rotating shift
Yeah.
like what I work this week, I don't work next week. You know,
Yeah.
just A/B rotation. So if I'm always available when you need me.
Well, thank
I'm
you, Reagan.
I'm glad to hear that because I was just about to say I hope I haven't scared you away with some of my.
Remember on our first show, I said, number one, I don't get scared off
Yeah.
on anything.
Yeah.
And I'm not your typical trans person.
Yeah.
I'm just a down to earth, call it how I see it,
Yeah.
and that's it.
Mhm.
Okay. Well, before we end, I just want to ask something. Are you like part of like an activist or anything? Or you're just just living your life and that's it?
I'm just right now with the amount of time I have with between my work shifts, which are 12, 13 hours long a day, and preparing to go to Colombia in a couple weeks, you know, and just my everyday, I just don't have the time for it.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right. Well, again, we appreciate you coming on. And Bob,
Thank
you
you
want to
so
say
much.
anything else?
No, I just appreciate you coming on again, and it's been. I think it was a bit heavy. Like I know at the start it was like let's try and think of things, but it did go a bit heavy and political. But I thoroughly enjoyed it. So I hope you and
I,
and everyone listening
Mhm.
enjoyed it.
Yep, I definitely did.
All
Yeah.
right. Well, then, everyone, thank you so much, Reagan, for giving up your Saturday, and everyone who listens to the show. I hope you enjoy it.
Till next
Thank
time, guys.
you.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.